Coming to you from the home of Franklin's finest, this is the APB Podcast. Here now is Franklin Police Public Information Manager, Max Winitz.
It is episode 15 of the APB Podcast. Hi there, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in and making us a part of your week. On today's show, Sergeant Kenny Gibbs, a 12-year veteran here at the Franklin Police Department, and the man who oversees this department's crisis negotiators. We will talk with Sergeant Gibbs about what it takes to be a negotiator, what their training looks like, and, of course, what happens in those real-life situations. Obviously, there are a lot of movies, TV shows that focus on police negotiators, so we're going to separate fact from fiction, what you see in real life versus what you see on your cell phone, your TV, you name it. So that conversation, it's an interesting one that's coming up next. But first, here are today's headlines. The Franklin Police Department is relaunching its chaplain program and is inviting compassionate, faith-driven individuals to serve in this very meaningful role. Volunteer chaplains will provide spiritual support, guidance, and comfort to officers, staff, and members of the Franklin community during times of need. If you are interested in applying, you must be ordained or licensed clergy in good standing. You do not have to live or work in the city of Franklin. To apply, contact us via email at fpdpublicaffairs@franklintn.gov. Again, that's fpdpublicaffairs@franklintn.gov. All right, on the other side of the break, a conversation with Sergeant Kenny Gibbs on the Crisis Negotiators, a vital unit here at the Franklin Police Department. That conversation is next.
Are you ready to make a difference in your community? The Franklin Police Department is seeking dedicated, passionate individuals who want to protect and serve in the South's most charming town. As a member of our internationally accredited team, you'll be part of a dynamic, supportive department that values integrity, professionalism, and community engagement. Enjoy competitive benefits, career advancement opportunities, and the chance to truly impact the safety and well-being of our neighbors. For more information, visit franklintn.gov/joinfpd. That's franklintn.gov/joinfpd.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. Max Winitz here, being joined by Sergeant Kenny Gibbs, who is in charge of the Franklin Police Department's negotiations team. Welcome to the podcast. Appreciate you doing this. Last week, I told Amy Butler that it was like pulling teeth to get her to go on camera, but I think you take the cake. So I am very grateful.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you bringing me aboard here.
This is a very fascinating topic. We'll get into the negotiation material in just a little bit, but as I do every week, I'd like to introduce you. Sure. And if you could, tell us a little bit about your path and how long you've been here with the Franklin Police Department and how you knew you were destined for a career as a police officer.
Sure, yeah. So, again, Kenny Gibbs, I've been in the police for 22 years. I was born and raised in Columbia, Tennessee, which is just south of here. Raised on a farm. Family was in law enforcement. Family was my dad was the director of the ambulance service in Murray County. So kind of all throughout my life, my family had been in a life of service. So that's kind of what put me on the path to look into this career, and I saw it was a lot of good things, a lot of challenges, which is what I was looking forward to. So in 1999, I moved to Memphis, Tennessee to attend college. Once I was there, I met my wife and ended up staying in Memphis and got on with the Memphis Police Department. So I was a Memphis police officer for 10 years. My wife and I had always kind of talked about wanting to get back to Middle Tennessee. She's from Memphis, so it was kind of like prying her out to get her out of, out of Shelby County, kind of dug in like a tick. And but we finally made the move. The opportunity came open here at the Franklin Police Department. We moved back. I live in Columbia now and been a Franklin police officer for 12 years now.
What was your experience like in Memphis as a police officer?
I got a great education.
Sure.
I got a great education. It was like drinking from a fire hose, if you can, stand that that euphemism. But it was a lot of great opportunities. I got to do things that I wouldn't normally have gotten to do. Started in patrol, of course. Proved myself and was good at making cases there. I got to go to the opportunity to go to the Memphis Police Department's organized crime unit, which is like a vice narcotics unit. I spent several years there, and I got to do great things. A lot of narcotics work. Got to work on some major cases. Got to work wiretaps. Got to do electronic surveillance. Got to do a lot of really cool things that I normally would not have been able to do.
So you would say that was obviously a great learning experience for you.
Yeah. I love being a Memphis police officer. I made great friends, great relationships. I appreciated the work I got to do. Like I said, the friendships, the experiences I got. They were all great experiences. It was. I say it was a great education because I got to do things that you just normally would not have been able to do with a smaller department.
Sure.
So, I got to do those things very, very early in my career.
Pace is a little bit different here than Memphis.
Oh, correct. Absolutely. But the things I looked at in Memphis, Tennessee, you're going from call to call to call because it's just so much volume. There's so many people, and there's a lot of crime, a lot of people that need your help. You don't have the time, and I didn't have the time then, to devote everything I would like to devote to the call, right? Because you come to work in Franklin, you come to work if we're holding 1 or 2 calls. That's a busy day, right? In Memphis, Tennessee, you go to work, you're holding 50 calls that have been holding for a long time, priority calls for service, just simply because there's that much volume in need of traffic there, for police services. Moving to Franklin, it's a different pace. I found that I really enjoyed it. Once I got adjusted to the slower pace, I was able to then devote more time and attention to each call. Not able to fully delve into a problem more deeply and then, help the people get a better outcome out of it. So it was nice. It was a nice change.
What have you enjoyed most about working for this department?
So the first thing I noticed about coming to Franklin that was the most fun was the ability of the slower pace to do more with each case. I got to take more ownership of the cases I got to do, the things I were involved with. I could more quickly see a direct effect or the direct change I could have in people's lives for the better. And I got to see that. In Memphis, it was call to call, take the report, do what you can, get back in service, go to the next call. Here, I had time when I was in patrol to go to a call, get involved in it. And once I slowed down to the pace of Franklin, because when I first moved here, I was still in that Memphis mindset. You got to go, you got to go, you got to go. Here, I was afforded those opportunities to slow down, really delve into some problems, have the support of my supervisors at the time if I wanted to get into something and do more with it, then I had their support to do that. And those were things that were kind of foreign to me, just coming from where I came from, starting out.
So tell me about your role in the negotiations team. How long have you been at the helm of that unit, and what kind of drew you into that division here at the department?
Yeah. So in Memphis, I was a part of what the Memphis Police Department called the CIT team. And CIT was a group of officers specially trained to deal with people in mental health crisis. So that was where this mental health journey began, and there's direct parallels between what we do in CIT, crisis intervention, to negotiators. You use a lot of the same tactics: active listening, actually hearing a person what they're saying, not just listening to them type things. Excuse me. So that was always kind of in my mindset. I was also involved in a peer support program for Memphis police officers there, which then also has direct ties to being empathetic and things like that. So that is what kind of started me on this path to want to be a negotiator, to be able to take highly stressful, rapidly evolving events and through talking, be able to de-escalate, slow down, and then find peaceful resolutions to some of the most complex of problems. Police officers, naturally, we are problem solvers, and what better way to serve your community and serve our citizens if we take a highly volatile situation, and instead of having to use more dynamic techniques, we can slow things down, find better resolutions, more peaceful resolutions just through talking. And that's always been kind of my draw to doing this job.
And you're a talker.
I'm a talker. Yeah. Well, when I want to be a talker, I'm a talker. Yeah. I would prefer to, sit here and most time I'll try to take a back seat to it. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I'm drawn to that. So,
What would you say makes crisis negotiations such an important part of, today's modern policing?
yeah, with the push, and it's a good push to de-escalate situations and slow things down, where we can do things the safest way for everyone involved, for the police, for our citizens, for the community, where we don't have to be, when we have time to slow things down and de-escalate. That's what the biggest draw is. We're afforded the opportunity, especially in Franklin, we're afforded the opportunity to do that. So again, through talking and slowing down and de-escalating, and not have to automatically go to tactical interventions, it's just the draw of being able to do that, especially in today's in the world today, where we've learned lessons, and hard lessons, from things in the past. Where in the past, it's always go, 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 go. There's no slowdown in the process. The culture, we have changed. We've adapted. We've sometimes been slow to adapt, but we are self-aware enough to know that we need to adapt to these things, and the slowing down and then the ability to do that have been instrumental in bringing better outcomes.
Right now, there are how many officers involved in the unit?
I've got, oh my gosh, you would put me on the spot, 10 officers. It's me, Lieutenant Butler, who's the assistant team leader. I have 2 squad leaders, and then there's, 5 people on each team, so 12. I've got 12 folks, yeah.
So what do you look for when somebody wants to join? I mean, what sort of qualifications, characteristics do you want in an ideal person for this unit?
Mm-hmm. It's a great question. I need somebody that's self-motivated. I need a self-starter, because a lot of the things I guess the best way of putting it, you have to get into your feels a little bit when it comes. You have to be empathetic, not sympathetic. You need to be able to listen to a person on the other end of a telephone and gauge where you are with them, how they're doing, what they're really trying to say. A lot of people, when I look for a team member, and when part of our testing process, we bring them in, we put them on a phone and make them conduct a mock negotiation through a telephone line. Through the phone, you don't get this back and forth where I can look you in the eyes and I can see your, because how much of our communication is nonverbal, right?
Right.
Like 90% or something, right? So in this situation, you and I are looking at each other. I can see your face. You can see my face. We pick up on these nonverbal cues. You don't get that on a telephone. All you hear is the inflection of their voice. So you have to have somebody that can hear that and pick up on those small nuances and adapt their style or what they're trying to listen to so they can best help the person on the other end of the phone. So I need a good listener, and not a person that just hears things but actually hears things, right? If that makes any sense.
Sure.
Definitely somebody that's empathetic, that can listen to a person's problem and not get so far into the other person's where the crisis they're in, but then can judge what they're saying and then react accordingly to that. I need a person that is not afraid to be embarrassed, because you can be or not have the ability to say I'm sorry when they screw something up, right? We've been in negotiations and training and in real life where even I've said something that ticked the person that I'm talking to off on the phone, and it has slowed down where we're trying to get to. We have now re-escalated or amped a situation back up again, right? I've got to be able to say I'm sorry and mean it. And when those situations happen, if I screw something up and I make the situation worse in the moment, yeah, I'll own it. I got to say I'm sorry. And not everybody can do that. So that's, being self-aware enough to say, yeah, I'm sorry. I screwed that up.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Yeah.
And then be able to move past that. Those are some of the main traits I look for. Definitely a person that's reliable, because we're available 24/7, 365. That's always a big part of it, and it's a big commitment for the person and for their families, because I can remember not so much in Franklin, but when I was in Memphis, when I was in narcotics, dope deals are going down 24/7 also. You got to be able to drop everything you do, jump in the car, and tear up to wherever the problem is, right? My wife got very good at working the grill because I can't tell you how many Saturdays we'd be out grilling in the backyard or something. And I was like, I get the phone call.
You got to go.
I got to go. And she got to where she hated that phone
Yeah.
call. And if I can take a moment for myself, my wife is a strong woman, and I am lucky to have her, because without that understanding and understanding the life that we live as police officers, we wouldn't be so good. We wouldn't be so good in this world. We've got a great marriage, great kids, and I owe that to her. She's really strong in this thing, and that's. And not to get too far off your topic, but that's a toll. That's a toll that a lot of families, not a lot of things that don't see. So thanks, Karen. I love you, baby.
I hope for your sake
Yeah.
she's watching.
I hope so too.
So you mentioned the mock phone calls.
Yeah.
Take me through more of the training. How often do you guys do it? And just sort of take me through the play-by-play of, one day when there's training taking place.
Sure. So we train once a month. Just like firearm skills, just like tactical skills, talking on the phone and doing these things, it's a perishable skill, so you have to keep your skills up. A new member coming onto the team has to go through several weeks of training. So we're certified through PATC. There's 3 levels of training involved in that, 1, 2, and 3. You have basic all the way to advanced. To be a full quote-unquote certified negotiator on our team, you have to make it through all 3 levels, which is not easy training to go through. So the typical day is we get together, do equipment checks, and then quickly get into scenarios. So short scenarios, long scenarios, face-to-face talking scenarios. It's a full day in all kinds of weather conditions, because you don't always get to choose. You can't always have 75 degrees, light cool breeze out of the east, training. So rain, shine, snow, ice, sleet, we're out there doing it. So that's a typical training.
Okay, so now let's transition into, real life incidents. If you're responding to an incident, tell me about the role that you play once you get out there, you personally.
Yeah, me personally. So as the team leader, it's my job mostly to liaise with command, the overall incident commander. Most likely will be in the incident command center, wherever that is, either be in the building or a mobile command center. I'm taking information directly from my team. They're relaying it to me. I'm distilling it down and then presenting whatever my findings are to command, so they can then make the best decisions moving forward on how to proceed with the situation.
So you as the team lead, highly unlikely that you'll ever jump onto the phone and negotiate your...
The day, if I got to get back on the phone, something has really gone bad. It's one of those things. And that's why our training is so important, because when I was on the phone, I liked having that contact with whoever we're trying to talk to and being able to get a resolution. I trust my team, and that's why we are so intensive on our training. I trust my team members to know they know what to do. That's why when they're telling me what they've got on their end, I can then, with confidence, relay that to my command.
Yeah. So you mentioned command. Tell me a little bit more about how you collaborate with, patrol. If SWAT's out on the scene, how does that all work?
Yeah. So in any situation, we're getting, it's all coming in real time, right? So my team will tell me something, the SWAT team will tell the commander something, and then based on what they're telling me, I can say, like, hey, the negotiations are progressing, they're stagnant right now, they're static, or they're degressing. Based on that, the SWAT commander, so let's say we have a situation where we're working, we're not getting anywhere, things are starting to devolve, it's getting to the point where, we probably are going to have to do something. I can relay that quickly to the SWAT commander. We have an understanding, and we've worked together enough to know when I say, hey, man, this ain't going good, y'all need to start figuring what y'all need to do.
Yeah.
They take what I have, we've got a good working relationship. Then we go together collectively and then talk to command and say, look, this is what I'm getting from my guys and gals. We're not doing good. It's time to look at y'all's side, get that ready to go. Or and vice versa. On the other side of things, hey, we're making progress. Yeah, he's screaming and yelling at us, but he's still talking to us, which we always see as a good thing,
Sure.
right? And I've got the trust from that side of things. Okay, well, y'all are making progress. Keep doing what you're doing. And so we're able to communicate and move things forward like that.
From your experience, what are some of the most effective strategies when it comes to, de-escalating these tense situations?
The number one ally we have in every situation is we have the ability to slow things down in time. When we get on scene, things are often chaotic, we have the ability through talking, just like this, to slow the situation down. Yeah, there may still be screaming and yelling, but as long as nobody's getting hurt and everybody is just kind of where they're at and we have the situation contained, we have the ally of just the physical act of slowing down the entire process, where it's not as dynamic. We're able to, with, because screaming and yelling at somebody, for example, is exhausting. How often, just sitting here talking to you just for these last few minutes, I'll have to go take a nap after this because I'm having to think and talk at the same time, which for me, if I had gum or if I was walking, then my day would be screwed. Yeah. I'd fall over, right? But the simple act of slowing things down and bringing tense situations and letting naturally things just kind of progress at a slower pace, that's our biggest ally. And that's why we work like we work. We don't plan on going out and, hey, we're here to help. 15 minutes we're done with. No, we're in for the long haul. And that's the advantage of doing things the way we do them.
What would you say is the most challenging part of your role as the team lead?
Some days you feel like you're herding cats. You got a lot of moving parts. You have a lot of we have a lot of technology that we're able to utilize. I would say when I took over the team lead role, one of the biggest challenges I had, and I was not expecting it, was just management of all the assets. People, your personal assets, your equipment assets, the physical, just getting things out into place where they need to be, where it's most effective, where we can do it safely. There's a lot of moving parts on these things. That probably for me has been the biggest challenge. I've got a great team. They know their jobs. They do a great job. They have definitely made my job easier because they're so competent in what they do. It's just moving from the role of being a team member or a negotiator on the phone to the more admin side of things. It was a little bit of a shock because I don't think I was quite prepared for that transition when I first got. So that was my biggest challenge, was to keep everybody pointing in the right direction.
Have you been able to kind of, in all your years doing this, in the experience you have now, you mentioned timing, and it could last hours and hours, but it's human nature that's going to get frustrating.
Sure.
Have you been able to sort of curb your frustrations, and you know how to not get frustrated nowadays?
Sure.
Or do you still get frustrated?
No, I still get frustrated. Frustration is a human emotion that is inherent, into all of us. You have to be, as the team leader of the negotiation team, my job is to recognize that in my people, but also to recognize it for the person we're talking to on the phone. Sometimes a little bit of frustration can work in our advantage, especially on the other person. And if I can expand on that a little bit,
Sure.
You got somebody that you've been talking to for a couple hours, and they're frustrated because I just want to, jump on this plane and fly to somewhere else and get out of this situation.
They're getting impatient.
Yeah. You can use that to your advantage, right? Look, man, I get that. But the best, let's be real with each other. I can't let you, jump in a car and drive out of here, right? We're going. And I always tell that to the people we're talking to. And when I was on the phone, and I was like, I'm never going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth, even when the truth may not be what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always followed up. I was like, would you rather me lie to you or let me tell you the truth? And in 24 years or 22 years of doing this, nobody's ever said, yeah, lie to me, man. I want you to lie to me. Just lie to me at everything. Like, the day that happens, I may have to hang it up. But
yeah.
If people want to be told the truth, and we give them that. We tell them the truth, even when the truth is not maybe what they want to hear. Yeah, you may have to go to jail today, but I'm going to work through this with you.
Yeah. That's a great segue into my next question. We just talked about the challenges, but let's talk about the rewards. How rewarding is it to do this? And is there an incident that comes to mind that you are just extremely proud of, whether you were personally involved or the team was involved in?
Yes. When you're able to take a highly intense situation with people involved that are innocents and bring that pace to a snail's pace and slow things down and get a peaceful resolution where nobody gets hurt, those are great. My team has done a great job with that. We had a situation in an apartment complex. It's been a couple years ago. dad inside, intoxicated, had his family, small children in there. Wasn't coming out, wasn't going to do what he did. My team was able to keep him busy to let the SWAT team get to where they need to do on their side of things, which got I can't go too much into some of the things, but the gist of it was a situation could have gone really bad really quick. My negotiators were able to distract and slow down long enough for the SWAT team to get what they needed to do to bring a peaceful resolution to that. I've had one-on-one conversations, me personally, with a suicidal, homicidal guy on the phone, and a neighbor street around here. His big thing is he wanted a cigarette, and I promised him a cigarette. And you'd be surprised how many times a cigarette will bring a lot of people things and things. Nicotine is a great motivator also, right? These aren't – I got to be careful how I say some things because there's operational things there. But talking to a person on the phone where they go from, I hate your guts, and when I find you, I'm going to kill you, to, hey, man, when we get done with this, can we just smoke a cigarette together? Those are important moments, and it builds not only legitimacy in the team and how we do things, but overall the public trust our citizens have with us for the police department.
Yeah.
When you can take a situation that can go bad and go bad quick, where people could get hurt, you're able to slow it down and then bring them out peacefully, and everybody can see that this person is going to get the help they need, either whatever that is, and that's a public thing, and nobody got hurt. That builds legitimacy not only in the unit but in the entire department as a whole. Those are extremely rewarding.
I got to ask, I'm very curious. Have you ever had an additional interaction with somebody, after the fact, whether it's been days, months, years after the incident? Have you ever come across that person again and they've know who you are and they've actually thanked you for helping them out of a situation?
I have. There was a situation here in Franklin. And it's more likely to happen here because we're a smaller community.
Yeah.
This dude hated my guts. Oh my gosh, he called me everything but a child of God, right?
Yeah.
Cussed me everything out, but through keeping it calm and slowing things down, I was in his neighborhood a few months ago, and I think he recognized my voice before he recognized who I was.
Yeah.
And he kind of got this weird smirk on his face, and was like, "Was that you who was talking to me back in the day?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." He said, "Thanks."
What did that mean to you?
You know what? In the moment, I was kind of like, "Okay, I appreciate it." And then, of course, with the gift of time, looking back on, I was like, "You know what? That's something to be proud of."
For sure.
That's something to be proud of. It's a small thing. But it's on a personal level, and as a police officer, you don't always get those chances to have those personal interactions, and from this person who is a criminal and did do bad things, has done bad things in his life, but for him to be able to say thanks to a police officer when I could be the model of everything that has been bad in his life, for him to take the effort to come over and say thank you on something like that, that's pretty amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How proud should the citizens of Franklin be knowing that this unit is readily available when a crisis occurs?
And I will even say this, the citizens of Franklin are always great about saying thank you to the police, and that's not something I was always used to in Memphis. They have every right and should be and do tell my officers and things how grateful they are. They have something they can be very, very proud of. We've got a great team. The citizens, through being good stewards of their money, have bought us some great equipment. They are getting they could go out and really say they've got a great unit. They should be immensely proud of it, and they do show that to us too. So.
Yeah, and if you're watching on the YouTube channel, my lighting just went out here in the office, so I'm going to move over here, see if we can fix it. Come on.
We paid the bill, didn't we?
There we go. That would happen.
Look at that. In negotiation, you had to be ready for any type of troubleshooting, because you never know when a generator is going to stop or the equipment is going to stop
working. Exactly. And wrapping up, two more questions for you. We often see scenarios take place in film, TV shows. I remember the movie The Negotiator with Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff at all realistic?
I don't watch police movies because I usually get mad at them. Now, I remember there was an older movie with the Dog Days of Summer back in the day where the negotiator's outside and he's like, I've got you by the private parts. Children could be listening to this, so I can't say what he said. If one of my negotiators ever started a negotiation with that, they wouldn't be on my team anymore. And that's maybe why I don't watch cop shows too much, because sometimes I think they paint a light of things that we can't do, things that we shouldn't do, and things that just really aren't accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I love Kevin. I love Hollywood, and I love the things they do. And I wish I could do the things that they are able to accomplish sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say be careful about thinking that that's reality when it comes to our negotiations and things.
Yeah, I thought so. And finally, you mentioned Karen, your wife, earlier. How many times have you had to utilize your negotiation skills at home with the wife and kids?
I would never admit to using negotiation skills with my wife and I, because I don't want to feel like I'm living. My wife really loves it when I come home and I'm like, she's mad at me about something, probably because I've done something wrong, and she's giving me the third degree about something. I'm like, that's a great point, and I really appreciate you bringing that to my attention, and you know what, I think we can work together to come to a peaceful resolution in this. And she'll stop and look at me and be like, have you lost your mind? We've been married for 22 years. She's like, do you think that I don't pick up on what you're putting down with that stuff? So
yeah,
she calls me on my crap. She don't let me slide on anything.
Does it frustrate the kids too?
They think it's funny because mom wins.
Yeah. But what about let's say,
when I use it on them?
Yeah.
Oh, so my son Logan, he probably is a little slower on the uptake, but he also knows how to push my buttons. So I'm not the best negotiator with him because, dads and sons become cantankerous.
Yeah.
My daughter is almost as good. She and I, our personalities are very similar. So she's pretty good at turning around on me. Like when I'm trying to get her to, take out the trash or do the dishes, she's like, well, Dad, that's a great point, and we should really work on that together, and maybe you can do part of it. I'm like, and I fall for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? And then after it's over with, I'm like, I fell for some garbage there. They got me on that one.
This was fun. I appreciate you sitting down and giving an inside look to this really vital unit here at the department. Thank you for what you do. Is there anything else at all you want to add on the negotiators that I didn't ask you about that you think the public should know?
I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of the department. I'm proud of the trust that not only the police department but our citizens have instilled in me to do. I'm thankful for that every day. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Sergeant Kenny Gibbs, thank you very much. Thank you at home for watching. We will see you next time, and stay safe, everybody.